This is the station yard. Real talk round the table, scars and all. From the first to rush to the long ride home when the sirens fall. Real firefighters, real conversation, laughing through the hard and the heavy on our hearts. Pull up a chair, lean in and listen. Every yarn's got a truth at its start.
All right, welcome back to the Station Yarn. This podcast isn't about hero stories or highlight reels. It's about the people behind the turnout gear, the laughs, the tough days, station life, family life, mental health, and everything in between. Just firefighters having a proper yarn. So today we're sitting down with Matiu Leonard, or Mutz, most people call you, right, bro?
Yeah, bro.
To talk about his journey in the job and the person behind the helmet, or now, as I've just found out, the person behind the desk. So, cheers, bro. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Too easy.
All right, so firstly, tell us who you are and, well, going to have to change a lot of my my script here now, but the person you are and where you are in the fire service.
Yeah, so Matiu Leonard, born and raised in Rotorua, but joined the job 2010 in Auckland. Mighty Balmoral Greenwatch, which was a wonderful introduction to the job. Spent a number of years in Auckland, then came down as a bit of a family move to Hamilton, 2017, I think, right when we came over the transition to Fens. Was probably the product of good timing and opportunities. Moved my way up the ranks, SO, SSO, and now what we call now, as recently, past couple of weeks, Assistant District Commander of Hamilton City. So get the opportunity and the privilege to look after 80 odd career firefighters and a volunteer brigade in the middle of town. So yeah, mate, it's been a pretty mediocre rise for me to get here, but it's been an awesome journey, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of the stories in between that. But I've had the privilege of working in two awesome brigades and coming up through and working with some wonderful people.
So that's obviously how we first met. You were at Balmoral, I was at Roskell, and we'd come over a lot to do some drill and things like that. And you had a pretty epic crew then, eh? You had Ben Tutupu and Mike Tier, who are buddy crack up at the best of times. So you guys had a pretty awesome crew there, right?
Yeah, look, I think everyone's going to think that they've landed in the best watch whenever they've joined, but I landed there for a reason, right? Like two wonderful firefighters and even Griff, who was a really calm officer at the time, and he was probably the calm in the storm. That was us, three of us, energetic, part Māori fellow and a couple of Samoan boys. But it was a wonderful opportunity. We didn't stay together for too long because crews kind of rotate around, but they really welcomed me. And a boy coming from Rotorua, it was all about culture, so we gelled quite quickly. Then you were over at Roskell. It wasn't unusual for us to go on the Club 22 to have a drink after our first day shift, so everyone gelled really well. And on reflecting on it, and I was thinking about it when I was coming over, it was all for a real reason too. Like, sadly during that time we were together, we'd lost Mickey, Neil, JY in quick succession. I lost my nana, Mike, and Ben lost parents and family members as well. But as tough as it was a real special time to be together. Like we're either always together, or we're out having fun together, or we're on station preparing for tangies and stuff like that. So it was a wicked start, and I cherish that from the get-go. And it probably set foundations of what crews and culture should be like, So they probably don't know it, but it was a special time for me, relatively young and free and charging, but they were awesome, man. They were awesome.
Yeah, two things out of that. Like, I reckon you guys changed Griff. He was a different boss when you guys were with him. Prior to you guys, a little bit different. Then there was the period with you guys, and then he sort of went back to the person he was. But when he was with you guys, man, he was like a different man. Eh?
Yeah, well, you'd have to, eh? You'd all of us cracking up, laughing, and you'd come back from a fire and you're making, I don't know, chop suey and baked beans on toast and stuff. You just had to be a part of that fun, and he was good. We did what we needed and what was asked. But it was still a lot of fun and a lot of aroha between us. It was a great experience, man.
And the other thing is you quickly touched on it, your nan. Even to this day, every time I go to Rotorua,
Beep, beep.
I beep beep
Yeah.
past her
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, bro.
The people that I'm with in the car, they're always like, "Who are you doing it?" It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Mata's nan."
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, she lived there." I was like, "It's a cemetery, bro."
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Yeah, crack up. So you said you were part of Balmoral Fire Station at first. Where did you go to from there, and all the way to where you are now?
Yeah, so Ellerslie Red Watch. I can't remember how that kind of came about. I think there was a position applied for it. Mike and Ben. I think Ben was still there, but it was
Ben is still there.
still and often off injured. And so things have changed, and man, my story is having gone through cancer really early. I always just take opportunities when they come, and I think an opportunity at Ellerslie Red Watch come up. I thought, well, why not? So I went over there. Was with another really awesome crew. Ellerslie was what you'd say a lot more mature back then. Guys that are well experienced. The rescue tender used to be there before the Bronto, so these guys all really knew their stuff. And so again, it was a different time for me to go there and learn under some really mature, really guys that knew their trade. And it was a privilege to learn from those guys, and especially some of the officers there that had been around a long time. Greg Daly, those guys just were always super calm at jobs, no matter what was going on, and we had some pretty decent jobs there. And as a young guy, I just soaked that all up from them, eh? So yeah, Ellerslie Red, and then the opportunity we talked about, with my wife is it's going to be really difficult to leave, but is there an opportunity anywhere else for us to get out and maybe have a better life in terms of affording for housing and stuff like that? Had never ever thought I would move down to Hamilton. I hadn't lived there before, although an interesting fact is when one of my good family friends who's going to come here later on, Ben Humphrey, he had joined the job a couple of years before me, and I did a ride along down there on Greenwatch, and long story short, I ended up being an SSO on Greenwatch back down there. So yeah, opportunity came up for a couple of firefighter spots in Hamilton. I applied for it. All of a sudden, hey, you've got the job, can you be down there in 2 weeks? I was like, geez. So I had to commute for a couple of years. So I spent a bit of time down there, Hamilton City Brown Watch, which was all good for me because I'd gone from, they were relatively, let's say, an older, mature watch for me, and I just come from Ellerslie, so again, I enjoyed my time there. Had a short temporary stint as a SO on SO secondment on Red Watch, which was Puketi back then. It's now Te Rapa because they moved. Then got a permanent SO position on Blue Watch. Was there for a couple of years at City Blue Watch. Again, enjoyed that time, enjoyed every time that I've been with anyone. And then I got an SSO position. As I said to you, one of our good leaders went up the organisation, and sadly one of our SSOs passed away. So there's a couple of opportunities for positions there. And again, life was short, took the opportunity, was privileged enough to begin an SSO spot in Hamilton Greenwatch. Absolutely loved that spot, and would happily still be there. But again, as I said to you before, opportunities come up. Took another secondment up into what was a GM position. One came up permanently, and I applied for that, and was successful for that. And so I've been doing this role for a couple of years now. So yeah, it's been
To
quick,
my
bro.
surprise, I had no idea. So it's real cool. And in my opinion, there's no better guy that could be in that position too. You've always been about the boys. You always had a good work ethic. Even outside of the job, you're family focused. And like Snowy talked about, he said this is a family, and you're a family man. You love your family, So yeah, what a great guy to be in that spot, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah.
So how did the fire service come into your life? Did you always want to be a firefighter, or?
Yeah, if I reflect back, I think everyone kind of did, right? And I always wanted to as a kid, but didn't really know where I sat. I went to uni, did 2 years of a degree, that Bachelor of Sport and Recreation, that I wasn't too fussed about. I imagined to get degrees from high school, and I managed to get into varsity at AUT there, and then I wasn't that interested. Moved to Australia, came back home because Nan was a bit unwell, and ended up doing some sign writing. And I thought, I had the opportunity whether I thought that I could go off on my own and be successful signwriting and probably make some decent money, but I wasn't really focused or driven by money, and I knew I had something more to give, and that was helping people. And I often used to drive up and down Ponsonby Road and see some firefighters in there, just even with their sitting in the office, and I thought that's kind of what I want to do, you know. So I snuck out one day and applied for which was the fire service back then. I think there was like 1,000 people applied then. Got through to the pack testing, got rung up and said, "Oh, look, you've made through the pack testing, but it's in Wellington." I said, "Oh, cool, you're going to fly me down there?" They said, "No, you're going down on your own." So flew down there and was successful enough to go through the process and be selected. I actually missed out, and there's a couple of us that missed out. I think there was 24 on the course. We must have been 25, 26. Things changed, and we got asked to come back in late. So I had that disappointment of, sorry, you didn't make it through. But then quickly got the phone call, said, "Are you ready? Can you come in?" So I was like, "Yep, absolutely." So
it's pretty much like the All Blacks, eh? Like, sorry, you didn't make the squad. And a couple of guys get injured, and they're like, "Yeah, mate, you made the squad. Now you can fly over."
yeah, I'm Stephen Donald.
Like just touching on that. A lot of us, as kids, we wanted to be a firefighter. You know, like you go to daycares for school visits and things like that, and you want to be a firefighter. And then there's this huge gap where you get to a point in your life and you're like, "Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to get I'm going to go for that firefighter role. I'm going to apply to be a firefighter." But there's nothing I find apart from your Firewise programs, which is actually just teaching you about fire. There's a huge gap in between where we miss people because there's no like push for become a firefighter, you know. Like one cool thing I saw the other day, don't venture out south much because we live so far up north, but we went to Manukau Mall and they had this careers office for the army, you know, like, and I was like, man, even just having a pop-up station in a mall going, hey, become a firefighter, you know, like, and catching that age bracket between, you know, the sort of 20 to 30, you know, like, because there's nothing that says come and be a firefighter.
No, and I think I've talked about this, you know, because I've always been passionate about that and started helping out recruitment when I could. I think, you know, and I say this in general, but I think we can almost be a little bit too arrogant around that organisation, where because so many people want to join the job, we don't have to worry about that sort of thing. You know, we just go, oh, they'll kind of come. And so you're right. I think we probably don't do enough in terms of recruiting or dragging people over. You know, I think even way back in the day, they probably used to door knock, or someone would knock on the door and say, "Hey, have you got a job?" And they say, "Yep, you're a firefighter next week." We've got so many people that are interested. Well, it used to be, you know, it's kind of dropped off a bit, but I think we could absolutely do a lot better in that space to compete, because it's important to get the right people. It's important to get those people that want to stay, but it's also on us to make sure when people do come in that we look after them, because what we are doing now is different to what we were doing when we started. And it's a significant change in the things that we see and do, and it's important that we look after people. And so we do need to. I agree. I think there's probably an area there where we could do a bit better to make a conscious effort, because we just think people they'll just come, and it's not always the right thing to do.
And it has always been that, you know, they get, like you said, they get 1,000 applicants for 24 spots, but is it the right 1,000 applicants? You know, and because I feel like we're missing that bracket of people. Like maybe we could be getting better people to apply for these jobs, you know. Like,
and we have a focus on, you know, like it's really a team environment, as we've just spoken about. You know, like you can't go anywhere without each other, and so it's important to get the right people there in part of teams. And a lot of the teams we focus with recruitment on, you know, ex-rugby players and or netball players and stuff like that, which is good because we know they like to be a part of a team. So,
So what really pulled you into the job? Like, what was that key thing that pulled you into wanting to join?
Just it's the cliche thing, but wanting to help people, because I didn't know. You just don't know what are all the other positives on the back of it. You know, like what it's like working with good people and stuff like that. I just haven't. I guess you could say an empathic urge to help people, and I've always wanted to. I don't know what that involved. driving around the red truck is actually, the real bonus, the cool part of it. But you don't know what that feels like until you do it. So it was actually, like, I want to be proud to be that person, and I want to be able to help those people. So that's what drove me to do it and get in.
Obviously, going back a few years now, do you remember your first call?
Yep. This is a story.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a story.
So, can you remember your first call, your very first call?
Yep.
And then also your first big call?
Well, it was probably a bit of a both, actually, because and I got a number of big calls. I've been pretty, I would say, lucky throughout my time there. Some scary ones and some good ones. My very first call, I actually did a 24. Because I started on the nights, Balmoral Green Watch on the nights, and then got rung up and said, "Can you work at Whanaungatanga on Red Watch?" I was like, "Yep, of course." Went there, quiet day, so then ducked back over to start my shift with Balmoral Green Watch. Nothing was really happening there. Had dinner. Decided to I needed to duck off to the toilet after a big feed, if you know what I'm saying. Tones went off. House fire. Yeah, house fire. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
So as you do, you're doing the dash to tidy up. Hopped on the truck. It was in Roskell's Patch.
Yeah.
And so as we're cruising along, Josh Darby, another good friend of ours, was driving. I remember that clearly. And you're not aware of the things that are coming over the radio at the time. You're just getting your gear on, and Josh is like, "Yep, sounds like it's going." So I'm like, "Well, what is that? What the hell does that mean?"
Yeah.
And then come around the corner. I can't even remember what the street it was now, but it was up in your guys' area towards Avondale, and couldn't see anything. Whole road was full of smoke. Absolutely going for it.
I know the call that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it was on Stoddard.
Stoddard, yeah.
So across the road from what now is the New World.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. Yep. And so it was absolutely littered with smoke, and so like, holy hell, what the hell have we kind of got ourselves into?
Yeah.
But then, heard over the radio, I think, I can't remember if it was Phil Thorogood that was on at the time, so they grabbed another high off the other side, so, Griff told me to do that. And so we started up and wandered down, and Griff's walked down the driveway, but there was a small, like a tiny little retaining wall that he was walking along, and then, poof, he disappeared into the smoke, and I was like, holy shit, my boss just died. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So it was all go at the start, bro. So that was my first decent job.
Yeah.
Was a 99 house fire, abandoned house of so that was lucky. And then I guess, so we in Barramore you're quite exposed to a number of jobs, and then I guess my first decent job was probably that of a pump operator, and it was a classic one where it was you come in the morning to jump. And one of the boys was like, "Oh, hey, look, we've got a relief truck. It's been making some funny noises last night. I'm out of here." So I was like, "Holy hell!" So I went out the back. I hadn't had any pump jobs like for a couple of weeks. You not in Auckland, you'd think you'd get a rubbish flyer or something like that. Nothing. And then I'm out the back doing my checks as I would before 8 o'clock. I was like, "Well, we need to make sure this is squared away." Boom, PFA in town. Shooting down Dominion Road, get over the top of Upper Queen Street as we're coming down. Balmoral 611, you're being redirected to a factory fire. So we spun around and come over the hill, and sure enough, down to Mount Eden was this building absolutely going for it. So rocked up there, took advice about where to park, and then all of a sudden had 4 lows, 2 highs. And I don't know how I got through it. It's obviously the training, but when you look back now, I was probably just doing this, bro. One of our firefighters got dragged out, unfortunately, and he was one of our newer guys at Balmoral, and he was shaking away, and I was just, once again, I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
But managed to work well and stuff like that. So I knew from that first house fire, and then again baptism by fire as a driver, that anything after this is going to be all right, and it worked out being sweet, because it just brought all of my whatever perceived stress levels or whatever down after that. You're not going to get any worse than a factory fire with 4 lows and 2 highs going off and not knowing what you're doing. So yeah, man, I've been privileged to have a few decent jobs throughout, even at Ellerslie, some significant jobs down here in Hamilton, all through the ranks. SO, I've had some good experiences in my short time. So yeah, it's been buzzy.
Yeah, that house fire, Darbs will be able to tell you about it too. But so another firefighter and I went to the door.
Yep.
And gonna kick it in, go and put out the house, and we're waiting there for water, waiting, calling for water, and we weren't getting water, and then you guys turned up, and Darby just went straight to the truck.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Opens up the tank, straight away we get water.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually it was a
Yeah.
great job, you
Yeah.
know, and it was, like you said, it was a derelict home,
Yeah.
you know, abandoned house. So we just had fun,
Yeah.
you know, and there was no threat to life or anything like that. So it was good.
We have had one. I've been to ones, you know, and you talk about some significant ones. The first decent one, again, it was a smaller house on Stoddard Road, but we got down there, and there's nothing that can prepare you for mother screaming for their child, right? Same thing with you guys. I think it was the middle of the day, like it was, you know, it's a beautiful day like this was. And you're like, okay, cool, what's the house for? And you get out and you hear that echoing bellow scream, and that changed shit up real quick.
Yeah,
So
for
we
sure.
had those fun jobs, and some of those other ones were like, holy shit, this is
Oh,
next
for
level,
sure.
you know.
I mean, even the other job that you were talking about, you know, no names or anything like that, but you know, there was some amazing things that came out of that, and some pretty bad things that came out of that. But the learnings that we all took, and the learnings that we took from that day, we still use today.
Yep.
You know, like are amazing. You know, and if we don't learn from the good things that we do and the bad things that we do, then we're failing as firefighters in my head.
Yeah, and I think this organisation does do some good things and sort of the learnings, but I think that a lot of learnings can come from us in our own debriefs. And
Oh, totally.
I think we're getting a lot better at. Sometimes it's like someone says, "Oh, you could have done a bit better," and this means you're shit. And sometimes our egos have gotten in the way a lot of times. But I think the way we are now, we're getting better and better at going, hey, you know, I could have done better at this, or we should have done this. And so just having those conversations are really good, because otherwise sometimes it's just dangerous, you know. So the organisation's learning on the back of that decent job. There's you know, such things as the new echo and tally boards and stuff like that. Gone are the days that they just chuck it on the floor and off you go, you know.
Or in the rapid deployment board that never gets moved.
Or they float down they were floating down the curb. You're like, oh my god. So definitely some good things, and I think some decent discussions, and we're getting better about it. You can't take offence if you got something wrong, and you need to even I would do that as an officer. Hey man, what did I get wrong, or asking you for help. What did you see that I could have done better? You know,
We do pretty well with our debriefs after a job. But one thing I do, like personally, is I'll go, like, I know I'll have something to say, because me being me, you know, I'll have something to say. But I'll always go, look, you know, like, I did this really badly. In my head, I thought I did this really badly.
Yeah.
But this also happened, and this was a fuck up,
Yeah.
you know. But I'll initially say that I did something wrong, you know, so people don't go, well, fuck you. You think you're fucking perfect, you know.
Well, exactly right. It just takes that away, especially in front of new people. It's this classic thing, you know, like you get a new recruit or rookie on, oh, we've got to do a ladder drill, and everyone's like, oh, I don't want to do a ladder drill. Most of the time it's because we don't want to go out there and fuck it up, right? You know, and then once you get a hang of it, you're like, yeah, sweet. So if you're like, you know, even sometimes, again, even as an officer, I'll be like, look, I can't even remember which way the ladder goes around. It's not my fault. I just haven't used it for 5-6 years.
That's it.
Let's go out and do it. And everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah. So exactly right, bro. And it's the leadership of you know, your senior firefighters that have been around a long time that just take all that wind away from that, you know.
Well, there is like a big push to be training on the cool stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But we get so rusty at the basic stuff, you know. We need to take that into account and go, no, when was the last time you put up a ladder?
Yeah.
You know, or let's go and put up the ladder, you know.
100%, and there's been times when I've either been a firefighter or the pump driver at a massive fire, or an officer or something, and you go back to station and you hop in bed and go, how the hell did I do that? I wasn't even consciously thinking about that. It's because you've trained it, or you've practiced it, or it's been taught to you, you know. So it really, when the times you think, this is a bit of a waste of time, or no one needs to tell me that, it actually bloody works, you know. I can't remember what is at NTC, but I think in the absence of experience, it's the comes your training or something like that. So it's true. Like if you haven't experienced it but you've trained it, all of a sudden it becomes a bit of your DNA. And it gets you out of so much trouble, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's sort of like drummed into you, eh?
Yeah, hard out. Yeah.
So, talking about those calls, when you look back at them now, how different does it feel compared to what you expected the job to feel like, or those jobs to feel like?
I had no exposure to what it would look like, right? I had no volunteer experience. I had nothing, you know. I just had growing up as a kid, a fire truck on a Rotorua driving past. I can't even remember if they came to our school. I had no idea what any of it would feel like. So I had all those feelings were new to me, you know. So, I didn't know how good it would be to work and how close you would get with people on your crews and stuff like that. I just knew I wanted to help people, and I didn't even know what they looked like. So, but I came in so fresh. I had no expectations of what it would look like. But every year or every time I've gone through these different changes, it's been better and better and better, you know. Like, it's
cool.
been cool, man.
Yeah, real cool. And so the early days for you in the job, what were they like? Like learning the ropes, you know, figuring out station life and...
Yeah. It was really good. I mean, again, it was easy. I walked into, I guess even everywhere I've been, it's been a family, so it hasn't been hasn't been difficult. You know, most of some of us would join single. You had all the time in the world to be at work and hang out, and if you weren't training, you were watching TV and having a laugh or in the gym together. So, yeah, man, it was. Yeah, everything was just new to me. The way that people delivered things was really good back then. The way they taught you was really good, and you just soaked everything up. You're just a sponge. So it was just a great place and great time. Yeah.
And would you say somebody in particular helped mold you into the person you are, like, or helped shape you in the job?
Yeah, I think I picked up something from everybody, even the likes of yourself. You know, again, if you go back to when I first started, it was, you know, Ben and Mike was just, and Griff was just about what it meant like to work closely together and work for each other. Then you go to Ellerslie, and the guys are really experienced and they actually know what they're doing. You know, it's not like the other people don't, but they took pride in being really knowledgeable what they did, and they didn't do it deliberately, but because with that experience, there was just such a level of calmness. And you know what it's like. If you sit in the truck with an officer that's really calm, you're calm, but sometimes you'd sit an officer at the front and you could feel their leg in the front going, and that raises everybody's thing. So,
you mean like putting a cushion under their bum on the seat and wearing their helmet to calls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's before you even leaving the engine bay, wee, all the way down. Come on, man. Jesus, there's no cars. So yeah, I've picked up a lot, and I'm still learning, man. I'll still learn from, again, by people like yourself on the phone or other people down the road, because you can't be too humble not. But I've picked up a lot from everybody I've gone. Some things to do and some things you don't do. And even in my role now, I'm learning, you know. I can have the best intent to do the right thing by people, and sometimes you don't think about it, but it can be perceived around this way. So it's about going, oh, hey, what did I do here and how'd that work? And you just learn about it. So I think it's important to have people. You know, we probably need a lot better people around the organisation that you can really look up to. You know, we're not in a team full of All Blacks or Richie McCaws. So the more people that we can get in this organisation that you can lean on or break bread with is really good. You know, so a lot of people I've learnt off, man, all the way. Yeah,
I love that too. Like I actually watched a podcast last night, and the question was posed to him, are you learning anything at the moment, and what are you learning at the moment? And they were like, oh no, nothing. And I was just like, man, in my head, the dumbest person sitting in a room is the person that thinks they've learned everything and they know everything.
Yeah, bro. So I mean, and that's right. Like, in my example, I've done everything I can in terms of, for this organisation, in terms of assessments. You know, even down to need into the executive officer program. I don't know what it was like going back to uni, but it was all good when you're going down there with your peers and people you get on with. And since I've finished that last year, I'm like, oh, that'll be it. But I'm like, nah, it's what really interests me, because I do a lot of assessments at NTC and I've always been interested in training, is how we respond under pressure, you know. And so I'm actually going back again to help facilitate one of the ECSO courses, but learn how we deliver and we help support people through when they're going in the red brain type thing. So I'm going to go along that course, listen to see what FENS delivers, and then look at going back to uni as well, to develop and understand about how we can help with behavioural patterns and what that looks like.
Oh,
Because
right.
we have really competent people that can go through these practice weeks and these and they are these high intense SSO, Pairamahi, or even station officer assessments, and they'll get there and the pressure becomes a little bit too much. It's not to say they're competent, but to me it's important to find out how we can, safely keep them out, everybody in this organisation, in a state where they can make safe decisions. So believe it or not, I've spoken to my boss as well, and looking at going back to uni and picking up some things there around our behaviour that we can maybe learn to deliver and make them consistent for our firefighters out there. So I just keep learning, bro. You just got to keep doing it.
And in this day and age, it's everything is about behavior now. I find, there's so much stuff out there about behavior. People are learning about behaviors, so why not incorporate that into the fire service?
Yeah. And it's not everyone's fault, the old take your helmet off, put your cabbage on, you'd be like, oh, he's the bloody cabbage, maybe he or she weren't given the right tools. Maybe they weren't possibly fit for that role, and we can identify this and we can help them, because with those things comes some pretty can be some pretty disastrous decisions, and you don't want people to be elevated and stuff like that. So man, you got to learn.
Station life is a big part of the fire service. What's the culture like and the role that you're in now?
Different, and that was the challenge looking to stepping into this type of role, because you're moving away, although it's a team and you're looking after a team, you're not together 24/7. I miss the working outs together. I miss those dinners together. I don't miss the late nights and up and down all the time, but sometimes when you're on call, it's the same, So the culture is different, but it's important to me that wherever I go, there is a culture about that. And so part of the big things around a culture, even when I was on the shop floor and even now as a manager, it's important that we welcome everybody into the brigade, whether you're a new recruit, whether it's your friends or whānau, whether you're a business service coordinator, whether you're a trainer, whether you're upstairs in risk reduction. So that's something we've been doing for about 7 or 8 years down in Hamilton now. So it's important to set that foundation that not only culture's downstairs, but it's upstairs as well. So, I may work at a desk on my own, but it's important those people that share the desk get to share me and have fun and have music, or go down and joke and that with other people. So, culture's not just within the fire truck, although I miss that. I still take it up where I am as well. So, but it's definitely different. Yeah.
And so when you're saying about bringing all these different people in, are you talking about doing like the whakatau?
Yeah.
So explain that, so some people might not know what they are.
Yeah. So look, I picked up from the chiefs. Actually have done it for quite a long time, and I spoke to a couple when I got down as a senior firefighter, to a couple of boys locally, and thought, hey, look, this is, what are your thoughts on doing something like this? It's I think it's important for us to have some sort of culture. Obviously we'll base the foundation on tikanga and Māori, because that's kind of who we are. And let's just chuck it out to the brigade and see if they're interested and what that kind of means. So we threw it out to the brigade. We had a bit of a delivery of what we thought that might mean at one of our local pubs, and we put it out there. And man, we thought we might get 5 people turn up. We probably would have had at least half the brigade, And so that actually morphed into something. Hey, we've got something here. And one of the ideas from that was important to me, that when new people come into the brigade, we can not only welcome them in with a whakatau. So whakatau is like a pōwhiri, but it's obviously not formal in Ata Marae. Same concept. You welcome them in, kōrero on both sides, and it's made to be a learning environment. So those people that want to have a turn can get up and whai kōrero Māori. Those people on the other side would do the same, and we're always trying to translate in English so people know. Bring the whānau and friends along on the journey. So the idea is that we'll welcome you and your whānau and your friends and whoever you want to the wider brigade, and this is who we are. This is our foundation, our core culture, and so people can really feel a part of it. And so we've been doing that for years now. The brigade comes together, whoever's available will come on off shift, sing a waiata together, practice the haka, and then deliver it to and with those guests that come in. And it's, to me, I've seen it as a, it's numerous things that come out of that, right? The whānau know, then they feel a part of it. They understand and know when their loved ones go off to work. They even know where they work. They might even know where they sleep. They know that who they're with, they're going to be trusted with, and they're safe. But they also feel a big part of it, because without their whānau being able to let them come and do the mahi, we don't have anything. So, and then you're able to kind of set some cultural boundaries around what's acceptable behaviour and that sort of thing. So it's been awesome. The uptake has been huge. We get really good turnouts every time we kind of do it, and it's something that we hope has and will continue to have succession forever when we're gone. And so, but it's been a privilege to be a part of it, help kind of lead something like that. And I think the benefits have been massive for our brigade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you started it when you were up in Auckland, but you've gone on a bit of a journey with your tikanga and te reo and everything as well, eh?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm the bald white fella with covered in Māori tattoos, but I can written down. I've got whakapapa all the way back to when our waka arrived, which is a privilege.
Boeing 747.
Matatua, kazi, matatua. So that's always been in me, and so as I've been trying to learn that journey, I've been trying to take people on it as well.
Oh, cool.
And so it's been a real passion of mine. There were times in Auckland where I was able to lead haka even on the recruits course. And it's even snowballed now to where we had, probably before COVID actually, we had a number of, I put out to the brigade, I went to the Whanaungatanga and said, hey look, we've got a number of our firefighters and some whānau that might be interested in doing some of your courses, what have you got? So I managed to do a bulk enrolment for he papa tikanga, so friends and whānau, they were over 16, I think there's about 23 people that did a course through Whanaunga, where they'd have a kaiko, they'd come out and learn about the history of New Zealand and stuff like that. And
wow.
Yeah, so that was really enlightening. And then post that, we're going to do he papa reo, so we're going to have someone come in and teach us te reo Māori. COVID happened, that got squashed, but we did have a couple of guys that are interested in learning te reo Māori, same thing. We're Māori but didn't really understand it or understand the language. So through a couple of the grants, we're able to get them on there. And now we've got, a big, long story that comes back to being short. One of our guys is fluent in te reo Māori, and he's actually teaching those that want to in the brigade te reo Māori. So once a week, we have, I had 15 people that sign up. We have a minimum of 10 to 12 people that turn up every week for 2 hours a week, and we are learning all together. I think we'll be week 4 this week. We're learning te reo Māori together. All walks of life. We talked about each other's why. I talked about my why. Some guys might be Samoan and don't really have a connection to that, but their kids know te reo Māori, so they want to learn and take that on with them. Some guys want to get a better understanding of the culture. Some guys are Māori, but when they joined, they were called brown boy or, Māori boy.
Kinder surprise.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So it's been awesome, and that sort of stuff, like it's even when I sat down for the first lesson, and to hear everybody laughing but starting to learn te reo Māori, that made me almost choke up. That was the part of this is why I'm here, So yeah. Long korero, bro, but it's a big part of me and taking everyone on it.
And going back a few years now, and because we're on this topic, wasn't there some sort of like Māori TV? You're doing some recruit course thing, eh?
Yeah, man, that was out of it, eh? So missed out on getting on that recruits course. Then got the phone call to come on. And then when we turn up, they're like, oh, by the way, Māori TV want to film your whole recruits course, all 24 of you. So what the hell? So, it was, I don't know, I can't really remember what the idea of it was, but they followed us throughout the whole time. They'd film us during the whole recruits course, and then they might pull a few of us aside once or twice a week, and we do a little bit of something like this. They'd interview us. So, it was definitely funny, and you look back on it now, it's a bit of a crack up, eh?
Yeah.
And then you're like, you come to the station, and you're like, those are the ones that were on TV,
Yeah.
Funny story, actually, that first day shift I turned up, my girlfriend at the time had a car, and her number plate was Supergirl. So I turned up to shift with Supergirl because my car was getting fixed, and at that time I had a V8 Audi. So when I turned up the next day, so not only am I driving a car that's got Supergirl, I'm turning up the next day with a V8 Audi. Like, who's this dude? And you're one of the dudes that were on TV. So interesting experience, but you had no choice. You just went with it. Went with it.
Yeah, take the shit.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. What makes a good crew, in your opinion?
Just a good person, eh? Like, and that's such a broad statement, but you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't always have to be the best leader. But if you're a good person, people gel. Like, there's a reason why I've gelled with people where I've gone. There's a reason why we've gelled, right? You'd been around a lot longer than me, but we're just good people. It was irrelevant of rank. And so some of the best crews, or most of the best crews I've been on, they've just been good humans. And it's in everyone, right? We're not forced to join. We want to join to help people. So that DNA's in everyone. Everyone's just a bit of different characters. So for me, it's just been good people. Some of the best people I've worked with and for have just been wonderful humans. And so you'll just follow them anywhere or do anything for them because that's just who they are. So, and you can learn together. If hey man, you got this wrong, yeah bro, my bad, and you can move on. There's no issues between. Don't you tell me what to do. So, for me, bro, it's a pretty broad thing, but just to be a good human, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
What's something about station life that the public would never see or understand? Like, I've actually had someone say, like, oh, you guys, all the food that you eat on station is paid for. You know?
Yeah.
You know, so like, what's something about station life that the public wouldn't understand?
Well, for one, we don't just always sit there and watch TV. It's for me, it's probably the multiple interruptions on every daily thing that you do at work. It's a sitting down for dinner. Like, can you just picture sitting down with your family, having spent probably an hour and a half cooking a nice meal, as everybody does, and as you sit down to eat, out here you got to go, and you come back, it's cold. It's all those things to heart. And by the way, you've gone to probably either cut someone down from a tree or cut someone out of a car, or within an instant of sitting down of having something to eat, you're in a burning building that's 700 degrees and you don't know where you're going. So for me, it's probably that thing. It's a thing in an instant, all those interruptions. It's yep, we do go to bed, or I used to go to bed. I do go to bed at home and get woken up with a pager, but everyone goes to bed. Often it's up and in straight into something. So for me, it's probably those major interruptions. It's not cruising along, or we're going to do this, and then we might go to fire call today, and we're going to go. It's the constant interruptions, which we're here for. But people just wouldn't understand those interruptions and what it means on everything, and what you're going to for something that's been interrupted. Yeah.
What's some of the best parts of the job for you now?
I get to help influence and support my people, and it's not just the Hamilton Brigade, right? Like, if there's opportunities to speak up where I feel they need to be spoken, I do it. Sometimes it can be at a cost to me, but it's my role, I see, as an assistant district manager now, is to support the people that sit below me. That's what I'm here for. Fire was created, then all of a sudden we needed firefighters. All of a sudden we need an officer to make a decision to help those firefighters. All of a sudden we need a manager to help a group of people to do that. I think sometimes that can be lost. For me, I have the privilege of looking after these people in the best way that I can, so they can do the things that they need to do. And sometimes I can take the heaviness of the things that they need away from them by supporting them so they can look after their family. So I get the privilege of doing that. That's the best part of my job.
And does that still remind you why you joined?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a change for me, because on the trucks you still get the opportunities, even as an SSO, to go to a burning building.
Oh,
That's with your leg. No, to go to something and put a fire out and still directly help people. That's very minimal in the rank that I sit. Even if I go to your page to something decent, you're still sitting way back at a level. So the change has come from helping our people to then help the community. So is a bit of a difference, but it's still the same. I don't think I would be in a job that's not involving helping people. If you give me a role somewhere else, I'm probably out. So yeah.
so with the role that you have now, has there been a moment yet that really hit you that was like, this is why we do it, this is why we're firefighters?
In my role now, yeah, it happens so often, bro. Like it happened. There's opportunities for me in this role. Again, I don't get directly to help the community as much as I'd like to, but it happens often daily, that I can help our people. There might be something that happens at home, and remember, we only looking after our kingdom, right? Like as people, we're only looking after our whānau. But as a manager, you've got 120 people with their kingdoms to look after. So when they come to a problem or something pops up or something that they need help with, that's their only world, and that's fair enough, So you've got multiple of those coming at a day, or things you need to problem solve and make it better for people as much as you can in the line of what the organisation describes, and sometimes I often go well out of that. So for me, bro, it's those small things. If something happens to someone or they're unable to do this, to be able to make that happen for them goes a long way. And I'm like, okay, this is why I'm here. Because it's not always, let's say, it's not always afforded to people all around the country in the same similar way. So I can control what I can control. So it's the small things, bro. It's the real small things that I can do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool though. Obviously, this job has had some tough moments. Without going into anything that you're not comfortable with, how do you personally deal with the harder jobs, or how have you dealt with the harder jobs, and what's the impact you have with people that are dealing with the harder jobs in the role you're in now?
Yeah, if I go back to as a firefighter, particularly when we came into the purple calls, you're going to persons report house fires and cutouts and stuff. You knew what you're going to. The purple calls was a bit of a game changer, right? The volume of things, all of a sudden you're seeing a lot more dead people, and even right through the officer ranks. I feel lucky, and I say that because I was one of those people that you could go to a pretty nasty incident and go home and fall back to station and fall asleep straight away. But what I realised is I was processing things there and then. Even as an officer, you would, if you go back to those families that are screaming or crying, I could feel myself in that moment feeling really empathetic for people. And so I guess I was processing things there. So I've been lucky enough for it not to impact me when I've left. The fatigue and the number of them do start to get on top of you, but I've been a communicator. You can probably tell I would share that or say, hey, this has been pretty shit, or tell my wife this is what's kind of happened. And that's probably the other thing. If you talk back about what the public don't know, the public will never clue when they're fast asleep, the shit that's going on around the town and the stuff that we're going to, and the impact that it actually has. So look, yeah, I was lucky enough to process things as they were happening. I could go back to station and crash out straight away. They didn't resonate with me too much. If things did, more than open, I'd go talk to our psychologist that FENS would provide. Still often go for a check-in, once a year to see how I'm going. And I was never afraid to do that, or even on a hot debrief in the truck, say, hey man, I don't know about you guys, but I found that pretty shit. Is everyone all right? Everyone would go, yep, cool. And sometimes you'd pick up that someone wouldn't be quite as all right, and you'd go talk to them. Again, in the position that I'm in, you don't often hear of everything that's always kind of bad. So you take it from picking up on people's behaviour, or being present around station, or some of the officers telling you. Because it's not always just about the calls. Everyone's got their personal life that happens too, right? People have marriage breakups, or separations, car got robbed, types of things. So you need to be on top of that as well. So it's just about being around them to be able to provide that support. And what you can do is say, look, I'm here. What do you need? Do you need time off? This is how we can do it. You know, don't worry about this. I'll sort it. You know, so yeah, not as much of the nitty gritty, gnarly stuff. And that's probably something I didn't think about stepping into this role. I didn't think about. Hey, you're probably not going to see as much shit. You're not going to be chopping people down from trees or that anymore. And it's probably been a really good byproduct. That's probably really saved a couple of years off my life, you know. So, yeah, experienced a lot of it, but privileged to be able to look after people now going through it.
So you talked about like some of the tools that are available to us. Do you think firefighters talk about that stuff enough, and they sort out that help enough?
I think we're getting better at, to be honest. I think we could always be a lot better about it, but things are changing, generations changing, and it was a way that the older generation used to cope back then. It was like, no, we'll just kind of get on with it, and nothing's wrong, and you know, we'll go home and drink 12 beers. Look, that's the way they kind of dealt with it, but whether you agree or not, was probably not the right way. I think we are getting better at it. Of course, people, depending on their characters, want to be private around some of the stuff that they're not coping with, and that's okay. But I'm the first one to say, like, even as a manager, that I've got, I went and saw the clinical psych last week, you know, and I just throw it out there. I love everyone to go see them to get checked on. You know, again, it's not just about the work stuff, but it's the personal stuff as well. You know, stuff like the Whanaungatanga survey and project has come a long way to identifying some of those issues that we could be better at. So,
because you've been pretty heavily involved in that, bro?
Yeah. Obviously, having lived with Josh and having a passion for it, was able to come up. It was an SSO at the time and help facilitate some of those workshops and understanding that the pain that was coming through. And obviously, you know, we were aware that at times it wasn't necessary. And look, to be honest, when we stayed together, there was a group of us that had a house that stayed together for the weekend to develop that workshop. There was a lot of emotion that was coming from us understanding what it was going to mean. You know, some of us guys were in tears thinking about what this is going to do for our people. And so a lot of those workshops became a bit of a counselling session because people just needed to get shit out. They just needed to be heard, you know, and that's what they became. So we are going in the right direction. I hope we continue to do that. And again, I just encourage anyone, just speak up, you know.
Yeah.
You spend so much time together on the trucks than often the family do. You'll pick up first what's going wrong. So
because I've never been in your realm that you're in now, like, these tools are available to firefighters. What's available to you guys in those roles? Because you're under a different union, sometimes you're under a different contract.
Yep.
So what's available for you guys? Because
Same
you're
thing.
still part of Fence. You're still effectively firefighters.
Yeah. Same thing. And that's part of the thing, having the wellbeing advisors that were, you know, a part of what came out of the Whanaungatanga stuff as well, was that there was enough wellbeing advisors around the country, and you know, Fens gratefully recognised that, and so they're out there. The same things afforded to us.
Cool.
Often the same things afforded to family members, you know. And we can support that too for family members if they're going through a difficult time. So as long as we're aware, we can absolutely try and support that where we can. Yeah, Fens will help where they can, and if I know about it, I'll definitely do what I can to help.
How has the job affected life outside of the station, or life outside of the desk?
Oh man, yeah. On the trucks, life was awesome, eh? You know, you what you do realise when you come off into a Black Watch role is that the conditions and work environment of downstairs are bloody cool, you know. I'm finding it now difficult. I'm getting better at trying to find the balance for my time, because the work volume's just consistently there. And if you talk to any managers around the country, it would be the same. So it does. When any time with a new role you might change something, it's a bit of adjustment to it, and that impacts on the family, you know. But I've learned to sort that out. There's I would be at home watching TV and an email would come through and go, oh, I know I can help that person, done, you know. But I had to learn to set myself some boundaries, and I'd have to say I'm still not good at it. You know, I've tried to catch up on some time today, but I've still been on my phone doing some emails trying to help people. So, it's shift life's good. You know exactly what you're going to get and when you should be working on an LBRD. I know it takes its toll on the family, but it's a bit easier to predict. The management time role is a lot of time. It's relentless, and you just have to work out how to balance that time with yourself and your whānau. So it's difficult, but I'm slowly getting there. Yeah.
So I know this might be a touchy topic, so you can tell me to shut up. But you know, in your time in the fire service, you lost your old man, your best mate. You know, like GC.
Yeah.
You know, how did you lean on the fire service at all to help you get through that, or?
Look, one of the big, like I said, it goes right back to the start. You know, like when you join the job, you join another whānau, and because we were so close, like you know, you knew my old man. You know, people knew. So through so many activities or things that we do, the Relays for Life, your firefighter whānau get to meet your real life whānau. So when Dad passed, you know, we were able to welcome him to the funeral, and I was backed up by a lot of you guys. And when he left, there was haka from you guys as well. So that was incredibly memorable and what I needed. You know, they've got my back. You know, because it was a incredible, horrible time, and it's still really difficult. Probably when I look back on it, you know, the opportunity to be seconded into a manager role happened only a matter of weeks after Dad passed away, and I was like, no, yeah, I'll do it, you know. But at the time, it was really difficult. I often sat at the desk thinking, fuck, what am I doing here? I need to go. I need to get out of here, you know. And I guess that might be some sort of anxiety or whatever it has, but it was just an overwhelming of emotion, you know. Like I've got this significant role, but I've lost a significant human in my life that was my best mate that I could talk to, rely on. I've got a mother that's really struggling, you know. I've got a newborn that's at home. Even that birth and that process wasn't great either. So there's so many things to juggle, and it was real hard. But I know he'd be proud of what I'm doing, and he was one of the funniest, but probably the most kindest guy that you would ever meet, and hardworking, bro. Like he was still going to the gym up until he was 67 when he passed away. And so you take that, you know, you often sit there and go, well, what would Dad do, you know? So he's still there, and it's a big part of who I am and how you know I try and treat people, you know. So
I saw that you put a post up the other day that he would have been 70, you know, and but it's like he was just here the other day, you know, like that's that sort of man that he had. He didn't talk much, you know, but when he did say stuff, you're like, oh fuck,
yeah,
he's the man, you know. Like,
he used to crack up, because I used to be a big dude, but we would say he's the most Buddhist without even knowing it. He had no idea. He had no idea or the concept of Buddhism or anything like that. But he just didn't worry about negativity or shit like that. He was a straight up. He looked after people. He had a big heart. He was caring. Loved his fishing. Loved his farting. Loved his LAB. Loved his music. You know, just a good, solid human. You know, so you'd never replace that, and you still, you at times you suffer for it. Yeah.
And what do the people closest to you think about the job, especially the role that you're in now?
That's a good question, eh? I'm not sure. I think it probably because I will communicate things out. If they probably do sense sometimes the frustrations that I can have in the role that I've got, but they also understand the reasons why I'm doing the things I'm doing. There's obviously a level of proudness, but they're proud whether you're a recruit or an SSO. They don't really know what that kind of means, you know. So I'm not sure. I haven't really asked. It's so ingrained now, eh? Like you've been doing it 2010 when I met my now wife. I was already in the job, so there wasn't any change to what we were doing. So that's all she's kind of ever known. Yeah, don't know. It's worth a question asking, eh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good question.
Who are you outside of the firefight, outside the uniform? Who are you? What do you enjoy doing?
Yeah, I have to try and work that out again, because I was funning at the time. Probably the same person in terms of the character. I'm still inappropriate at times and stuff like that. But I love my music.
You're still DJing? Doing the DJ
whenever things kind of come up. But even in the office, if the right people are in the room, I'll just crank my tunes.
Crack out the decks and the upstairs. Like, got any requests?
Well, but even sometimes like back on when I was on the trucks, our crew on Greenwatch in town there were full CrossFit, and got the fittest I would get. But if there were times I was just too putty, I'd be like, oh, hey guys, I brought my turntables in. So as their boss, I'm like mixing up live DJs while they're having a workout, so that'd be pretty cool. Music, bro, really enjoy it. Anything to do with the ocean. I probably haven't done enough of that to centre myself. So, but of surfing when I can, fishing, bro, and just hanging out with people, So.
Snowy said you're a bit of a runner now.
Yeah. Bro, you never used to do it when I was supposed to, when you're playing rugby. I hated it. I hated it because I was relatively quick back then. But so a bit of running. I'll just chuck the shoes on and go for a run and clear my air. I used to just not listen to anything. I used to just run and process how I'm feeling at the time. Sometimes I'll take some tunes with me, but still try to stay relatively fit. But again, I've got to get better at, because a Monday to Friday job with extra hours on top, and sometimes you're on call that you don't often get that time that you should. So I'm trying to learn to get back into it. But yeah,
and we touched on it off camera. So we were pretty much the owners, unofficial owners of Chapel. There were some good times. So just for those that don't know, Mats and I used to be regulars at Chapel, the old place on Ponsonby Road.
Yeah.
Bloody good place, but they had a dress code, and we would turn up in basketball singlets, shorts and jandals. They'd let us in. They'd have our drinks ready before we even got in the door. Yeah,
that was a special time, eh? There was good times, and that was about connection too, right? We were young and most of the time single, but it didn't matter. We would if it was a Sunday, what are you up to? Let's go and connect and have a blast, and geez, we used to jump into it.
Prior to going to Chapel, we'd go out to Dressmart and buy some more chucks.
To the point, when I think I told you, I was like, man, I don't have any white leather chucks.
Yeah.
And then I went into, I think we moved, and I started opening the boxes that I had, and I was like, shit, I already got a pair of white high leather chucks. And I was like, bloody hell. It was a problem. Yeah. But you're young, you had a bit of money, and we used to party. It was cool, man.
Yeah. Awesome. So those days are gone now, though, with the little one at home. And
we went to bloody homegrown in the weekend. And ripped it up. Yeah, bro. Got her first pair of chucks, went through that.
The homegrown's here now, eh?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So the guy that had been running it in Wellington is from Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
So we met with him before he had it, just in a work capacity. He's like, "Yep, we want to have this for the next 18 years here." And when I was like, "No, I'm not working. I'm going." So I went in and we had a blast, bro. Wicked,
cool.
Wicked.
Awesome.
Awesomely well run. Didn't have to wait in line for drinks or toilets or anything like that. It was mean.
Because it was the first time here, eh?
Yeah, but I think it'd been a number of years ago before it went to Wellington and it came back. But it was epic.
And you guys do anything fire service wise, or just sign off on staging stuff?
No, so sign off on all that, but then we had on duty execs there in case something kicked off that went on. Then we had risk reduction staff. Just they had the privilege of getting to walk around, and make sure nothing shady's kind of going on and stuff like that. So we still had a presence, and they were open to that, and they had everything really well run. So it was awesome, bro.
Awesome. Yeah. And you touched on it briefly, but you had a cancer scare, bro.
Yeah. 20. Moved back from Australia, and then was playing. I was playing Premier Rugby, and I would have been bloody 62 kilos. It's absolute weapon. But I got
with
kicked,
your goosey.
Well, yeah, and I'm actually playing Golden Oldies next Saturday too. So come along if you want to see a bit of a clinic. But got kicked in the nuts at rugby training. Still quite sore when I got home that night. found a bit of an odd-shaped thing on my nut, and I was like, "Hey man, I don't know if this is right." And my girlfriend at the time was like, "You probably should go get that checked out." Went into work the next day, so I think trained on the Thursday night. Trained on the Tuesday night. Went in on the Wednesday. Jumped online. Looked up symptoms of testicular cancer because it was probably fairly obvious that something's not right there. I thought, should I better make an appointment to the doctor? Gone to my GP. That said to the boss, "Hey, look, I'm just need to duck out. I'm just going to the doctor." He said, "Yep, 3 days." Went to my GP. She said, "You need to go to the ultrasound right now." Went to the ultrasound. It was about 1 o'clock, and they said, "Oh, look, you might have a hematoma because you're saying you've been kicked." All of a sudden, the door opens. It's the boss, and said, "You need to go over to the oncologist now." And I was like, "Well, what's that all about?" Oncologist went to the oncologist there. He said, "You've got testicular cancer. I need you to come back tomorrow. We're going to cut it out." So there was all a bit of a shock. Mum and Dad were there at the time. Came back the next day. They cut it out. Had a few days to rest. Did a CT scan. Found it had been a secondary tumour. So size of probably a grapefruit in the lymph nodes in my back, round the spine. So they said, "Up, we need to cut that out." So I had a major operation. Take all your guts out. Put it all back in. And then so they got out what they could. And then had 3 rounds of chemo after that as well. So it was a pretty hectic journey. I said to my boss, "I'll be back after lunch," and I didn't come back for like 6 months. And even then, when I came back, I was just no good.
Wow.
So 21.
But that's before the job, eh? So have you?
Yep.
Has there been any like complications or anything that have hindered your time in the
Yeah, bro.
service?
Yeah. And that's why it's probably been a couple of reasons why we've managed to have our daughter a bit late. One was my wife went through med school, and the other one was the complications of that. So, I'm happy to talk about it. At the time, they said, "Oh, but before you come back tomorrow and cut it out, I need you to go across the road and bang some sperm." I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" So the lady's like, "Go in the room, there you go, and bring the jar out when you're done."
Here's a magazine.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, like 1980s. You're like, that ain't gonna work.
Oh, that's like a fire station.
Phone. Bro. So, and thankfully they did, because one of the risks of the major surgery that they did is because all our nerves run down our spine. Is that if they nudge some of the sperm, they can call it what it's called retrograde ejaculation. So, your sperm can go into your bladder. They might not be able to get it out. I was the 1% of the 1% of the 1% that it happened. And then as we were trying for a family, it wasn't working. And they were lucky enough to have that frozen sperm for over 10 years, put it together with my wife, had an embryo they classed a number of embryos, and my wife got pregnant straight away. So had they not done that, I wouldn't have my daughter. So it's massive complications after that, not just after the chemo, but everything that got us to where we are. So
like having a watermelon-sized nut.
Yeah, bro. Bro. That's what. What's his name? The cyclist.
Yeah,
he was bad. He was terrible. Like it was like that on his bike before he says, "I'm going to do anything." So yeah, man. Yeah,
crazy. What does the fire service mean to you personally?
Pride, eh? Pride, bro. Like chucking our uniform on and still get the privilege to do that. You're just so proud. It becomes everything to you, because you end up working those weekends. You end up working birthdays with everybody else's. But if I'm missing someone's birthday, I used to be able to hang out with you. So the pride and the connection of that is everything to me. It's why I'm still here. Of everything that can go on, you can't change relationships and the friendships that we've got, and that's what drives me. So, I'll admit I feel in my role, because I still have to wear a uniform and I'm not with 3 other people. I feel really awkward if I have to go anywhere, because I don't have my team with me. But I'm still proud to wear that uniform. And every interaction I can have is a representation of not just the organisation, but the people that I work for, So, man, proud.
And if you could go back and talk to yourself on the first day, so everything that you've experienced now and the level that you're at, what would be the advice you give?
I don't know. I just went for the ride, eh? I don't think I'd change anything. I had the fun I needed to have. I just went where I felt like I wanted to go. Like I said before, because of my cancer journey, life's short for me. I've just taken opportunities when they've come. I've been a product of good timing, I think, as well. Like it's not, I'm not driven to be the national commander type thing. I've just gone, you know what, this. I knew I wanted to help lead people. That was always before I joined the job, and so a station officer was kind of where I wanted to be. And then I've just been a product of these opportunities that's kind of come about. So yeah, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything differently. Or I don't even think I wouldn't need to tell myself to do anything. There was every moment was for a reason, and every relationship was built for a reason. And there's a lot of love in that back when we joined, and when you look back now, it needed to be, because we went through a lot of tough times, Yeah, I just keep being you. Just keep being you, man. I'm probably still the same silly bugger when I joined to I am now, because what's the point of changing, So, yeah.
All right. Just a couple of quick ones. Best station meal you've ever had?
Oh man, they started to get real. Definitely not one of mine. Definitely not one of mine. And if anyone's watching, they'll know that mine were pretty average. You can't go past a good roast. Some good roasts that were cooked. And I'll admit they weren't always mine for sure. A good chicken roast. Yeah.
Well, and then a trip to KFC.
KFC.
Your guys' reputation, man, at Balmoral Green, like having dinner and then walking down to KFC to get more food.
Yeah, it was an absolute trifecta of food, and that still happens, bro. Like, even if someone would chuck the idea as an SSO, do you want KFC? I'm like, yep, yeah. So I still smashing it.
Bro, this is actually just reminding me. Remember when we did the calendar?
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
We're like dehydrated and like malnourished, and where do we go straight after the photo shoot? KFC.
Literally, the closest restaurant was like 2 minutes down the road.
Well, we weren't going anywhere else. We were going to KFC.
Wow, we smashed it too.
Oh, bro.
That's right.
Coffee or energy drinks on station?
I don't do either, eh?
No?
Nah.
Oh.
Nah, never. Well, not against either. It's a big thing, eh? Like, and I didn't drink coffees, but I knew it was important for our guys and girls if they wanted coffee and to go shoot the shit. Never used to drink it. Like, right, let's go for a coffee. So, I'm not against it. I've just used to have a can of V or something and bottom out. So, more of a cup of tea or water, bro. Just chill. Yeah.
Any good station traditions that you've been a part of?
Probably they've kind of, I don't know about you guys, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. I mean, you talk about the whakatoast one, but my one was the old, when Griff comes out, you believe him. Oh, hey, we've lost comms. We need you to go up the tower and look for a fire. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. But because he said so, I'm going to go upstairs, and then you hear the truck back out, beep, beep, and I was just absolutely drowned. Oh, we have done a little bit here where you do a drill with a snorkel, and you get probably the newest firefighter to sit in the Stokes basket, and you turn the sprinkler on and drown them. But it's not as the tricks aren't as fun anymore as what they probably could be or should be. Some of them were getting out of control. Some of them were getting out of control.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, some of the ones that some of the pranks that I've witnessed over my time.
Yeah.
There's been some good ones.
Would be probably a lot of more shit. Going down and getting in trouble now. But there still needs to be. There needs to be the initiation. There needs to be, because then you're not in a shit way, but you need to feel like you're welcomed and you're part of the team. And a water fight or getting drowned is because people think it's coming, right? And then it doesn't happen. They're like, "Mate, this ain't like what I thought it was going to be."
I think if people don't do pranks to you, they don't like you.
Yeah.
You don't fit in. So let them do it.
Yeah, bro. Hard out. Yeah.
The more you cry, the more they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, hard out. Yeah.
What's the most underrated piece of gear that firefighters use?
Underrated. man.
The computer.
Well, yeah, probably, yeah. My laptop.
Yeah.
Man, you would often you'd often get caught out sometimes with things you don't need. I always said to take a tool, whether it's a Halligan or something. You just take something. Because there'd always be a time when you'd have to kick a door in or take something. Take something. You know, I couldn't say exactly what's the most underrated, and probably because I've been off the trucks for a couple of years. But take something, anything.
What's something every new firefighter learns very quickly?
Yeah, there's a rank for a reason, and that you definitely don't know it all, and then what you learned. Yeah, and I hope would be better, but what you learn on your training is not always like what it's like in the real world. And like I said to you before, you can do all the firefighting practicing you can, but when it's chucked in with someone screaming at you or family desperation, it changes. So there's emotion in this job that you can't train for or teach, and it comes quick.
What's one thing that makes a great firefighter?
I've probably got two: humility and hard work. Like if you've got good work ethic and you're not worried about making a mistake, it sticks out like dog's balls. You know, we've got some of the most experienced people that probably you would say have the right to kick back a bit, but they're often the first ones, and they're the first ones to a callback. They're the first ones with the preventer in the roof cleaning out the shit because they know there's a job to do, and they are more than humble to want to do it and not worry about it or even get things wrong. So I think for me, humility and hard work.
If somebody was thinking about joining the fire service, what would you tell them? Don't do it.
The best times have been had. Bring yourself. We've all got different things to bring. There's nothing worse than people coming in and being a shadow of them, feel like they have to be a shadow of themselves, because everyone's got something to bring. It's a high stake. It can be a high stakes, high energy job. And if you just, you learn your trade, but bring who you are, it's often the best to support each other. We've each got different things that we can bring or sets of skills. So just bring yourself, because some days someone's having a shit day, and then if I'm working with you, you might pick it up, and because you're a caring dude, you might go, hey Mats, is everything all good? Some people are a little bit shy to do that. There's a rank structure for a reason at jobs and stuff like that, but I think in terms of the social station life, like if you can bring yourself, then you're going to be all right. And I think we do a really good job of recruiting good people these days. I would hope we do. And so that, bring yourself and be yourself. Yeah.
And finally, this question I ask every single guest is, with everything that's going on at the moment in the job, is this still the best job in the world?
Yeah.
Why?
The people, bro.
Yeah.
Here nui te o te ao. What is the most important thing? Is people.
Yeah.
It's the people. And it is I keep saying it's a privilege to work in this job, but it's a privilege to work with the people that we get to do it with. I don't care what anyone else says or whatever else is going on. These are all moments in time. We will get through it. We've seen this before. It doesn't matter what's happened. We're still close. We're still friends. We're good mates. So it doesn't matter what goes on around there.
I don't know. Yeah. Now learning that you're a top dog, I'm taking you off my social media. I'll tell you that.
Sometimes I think people have, bro. Like, I don't get messages back anymore. I'm like, hey, what's going on here, man?
Are you on USL right now? I just saw you put a post up. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, bro. It is. It's the best job. We get to help people, and we get to do it with our mates and good people. So, there's always going to be noise. There'll be normal noise in a couple of years for something else too, and sometimes I can find it offensive to how we can treat people, but you've just we just got to look after each other, bro. Yeah. Best job in the world. I probably couldn't and don't want to do anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that too. I'm like, what else would I do?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't want to go. Well, I used to go build for my old man, and that was fuck, bro. On my leave, I'd be like, fuck this, man. This is way too hard.
Yeah. Hey, when's like smoker turning up?
Yeah.
And who's cooking dinner tonight?
Yeah.
Oh well, Kazzy, thanks heaps for coming on.
Yeah.
Obviously learning the role that you're in now. You're a busy man, so I appreciate you taking the time out to come and jump on the podcast. It's been real cool to catch up with you too, bro. Obviously, like I said, I haven't seen you for a while, so it's been real cool. Good luck with everything that's going on in your role. I'm pretty sure the boys down here absolutely love you and love the person that is in that role. So
hope so.
Big ups, bro.
And thanks, bro, for what you're doing. Like, there's an opportunity to be able to share and to gel with some of the stories that you're sharing with everyone. And if you're sitting on station having a bit of a difficult time, and go, well, everyone else around the country is feeling the same, bro. So thank you for doing this. The more that we can speak up and get out and hear each other, the better, man. There's good people, like I was saying to you off camera. There's some awesome people around the country, awesome firefighters around the country. We just got to find them, bro. And when you do, they're cool.
Yeah, bro.
Thank you, brother. Cheers, brother.
This is the station yard. Real talk round the table, scars and all. From the first due rush to the long ride home when the sirens fall. Real firefighters, real conversation. Yeah, we're stitching up the brave and the scarred. Pull up a chair, lean in and listen. Every yarn's got a truth at its start.